It's the talk of San Diego.
Hi, I'm Andrea Ben-Susan and I'm here on the Talk of San Diego, and we are currently at the California Flight Academy, and we are going to speak to the owner, Kent Parrish, about his experiences here with the school. And we are going to chat with him just about now. Come on, let's go! Hi, I'm Andrea Ben-Susan and I'm here on the Talk of San Diego talking with Kent Parrish about the California Flight Academy. And what can you tell me about the first time you flew?
Oh boy, everybody remembers that, or every pilot does anyway. And when you fly, you experience things, your body experiences things that it's never experienced before. You know, the weightlessness and controlling the aircraft in the sky. And so what you remember as a pilot is the first time your instructor gets out and you solo. And you come back and you actually piloted that airplane yourself, and he wasn't there to back you up, so to speak. It was all you. So that's what you remember. That first time.
And how old were you at that time?
I was 20 years old when I soloed. Yeah. It was wonderful.
What can you tell us about the California Flight Academy?
California Flight Academy started in 1989, so it's been here a long time. And it started out basically with a guy who was a flight instructor, and he decided he was going to do it on his own instead of work for somebody else. He went initially with one airplane, and then he had 2, 3, 4, 5. And today we have 14 airplanes. There's 9 instructors here. We have about 45 students enrolled in the school. And like everything, it goes up and down. We've had as many as 120 students here. And at one point, before my time, the gentleman got certified for foreign flight training, CVIS and TSA approval. And today we're comprised of about 90% foreign students. We have students from all over the world, exotic places like Mongolia, China, lots of students from India, Taiwan, Japan. I have a Japanese instructor. He's actually my most experienced instructor. He's been with us for a long time. He's been here longer than I have. We get some Europeans, Spain and Germany. I have a couple students in Spain and Germany. I have students here from Syria, Iran. I have 2 guys coming from Israel. We have students here from Brazil. So they're from everywhere. And what makes this school unique is that our graduates go on to work in their respective fields. So they get their FAA licenses here, and then they go home, convert their licenses to whatever their local government agency is. And the next thing you know, they're flying Boeings and Airbuses and transporting people from everywhere. So.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very interesting. All the different cultures that come together is what makes this school so unique.
And do you have many American students here?
We do. About 10% of our students are Americans, so
Wow.
it's not a high percentage, but yeah. But most of the Americans we have are same thing. They're transitioning either out of the military or they're aspiring airline pilots. So my client basically is anywhere from 17 to about 24 years old, and they're on a career objective, and they've got this passion for flying, and we help them achieve their goals. So.
Yes. And how about female pilots?
We do get some ladies, and we're getting more and more ladies all the time. It's actually exciting because it brings a great dynamic to the school. And it's neat to see some of the cultures where, you know, the women are progressing still. In the United States, we're all equals and things, but there's a lot of countries where that is still taking place. And so these ladies are breaking ground and becoming pilots in their countries where traditionally it's only been males.
Yeah, that's great. Would you say there are more female pilots from a certain country, or would there be more American female pilots?
Yeah, there's definitely more American female pilots. And you notice it particularly when you're flying on the radios. You know, there's more ladies that are popping in and piloting aircraft. And I think as you start flying commercially, you're going to see more and more ladies up front as well. So yeah, it's a great career for ladies.
Yeah. And how does the California Flight Academy prepare you?
We have, you start out with your private pilot's license, which means that you can fly as long as the weather is good. And the next license you get is your instrument rating. And the instrument rating allows you to fly on days like this where there's clouds, and you need to get in and out of the airport through the clouds, or it could be rain or whatever it may be. And the next rating after that is the commercial license. And there's two commercials. There's a single engine commercial, which is what all flight instructors have because all training starts with single engine. And then the one that most students are most interested in is the multi-engine commercial, which allows them to fly airplanes that have more than one engine.
Okay.
And they leave here with about 220 to 250 hours. Some of them go from here straight to get a type rating in a Boeing or an Airbus, which are very sophisticated aircraft.
Wow.
You know, and they go home and they're actually flying those airplanes with very experienced captains, gaining their experience in the cockpit. So,
Wow.
yes.
And do they have any paperwork or homework to do besides actually getting in the plane itself?
Oh yeah, there's lots of homework, and that tends to be the hardest part of flying. I can teach anybody to manipulate the controls of an aircraft, but roughly for every hour that you fly, you have to study at least 2 hours.
Wow.
So.
And how many hours would you say you put into the training for flying at least?
It's by hours, and we train at whatever the student's best pace is. So I have some students that come here that are overachievers. They finish my program in about 6 months. That's as fast as I've ever seen.
We are going to take a short break. I'm Andrea Van Susan here on the Talk of San Diego.
Please pay close attention as our menu has changed. For those with negative comments about the show, please press 1. For those with positive feedback using your touchtone keypad, spell out the word centrotrifluorodiethylamide.
We're back, and I'm Andrea Van Susan on the Talk of San Diego here with Kent Parrish, and we are asking him about the California Flight Academy. And is San Diego an ideal environment to complete your flight training, or specifically Gillespie Field?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you ask that question because that's the whole marketing behind the school. There's lots of places you can do flight training, but we start with the United States because of our environment here. The FAA is very well established, and our airports are public versus private, which keeps the fees down considerably for flight training. And from there, where would you want to go? Well, you're going to stay in the south, right? Because that's where the better weather is. And if you're staying in the south, where do you want to go? In San Diego, Southern California is about as good as it gets. We don't have thunderstorms to speak of. We don't get a lot of freezing that shuts down things. We have mountains. We have proximity to Lindbergh and some complicated airspace that we can get a great exposure for our students here. So. And we fly, virtually 365 days a week here. And even, when we have overcast like it is today, it's very flyable. We can fly in this weather with all of our students. So our planes will be very active today, and we'll look forward to sunshine this weekend. And it's a wonderful place to train.
Great. Is it difficult part of the foreign students to adjust to your academy?
Yeah, we have some growing pains. When they first get here, a lot of the students have never been away from home before, maybe never even been on an airplane before, and next thing you know, they're 13 or 18 hours in a jet to get here. They show up jet lagged in a foreign environment. We pick them up at the airport. We have student housing for them, and then there's some cultural adjustments. They got to figure out the food, and some of them have never been to a grocery store or grocery stores like we have here. Maybe they're used to markets or something smaller. And they got to learn how to cook and do laundry and things that maybe they weren't doing at home.
Be independent.
Be independent, exactly. And then there's always the transportation component. Some of them get driver's licenses, rent cars. Some of them buy scooters or maybe just ride a bike, and others walk, take the trolley. So you got to figure those things out, as a foreign student. And then there's always the language aspect too, of course. So. A lot of my students are not only learning how to fly, they're learning how to speak English. And of course, where better to learn than where it's the native language. But then they've got to translate that into the academic side, learning how to fly. And the radios can be very challenging if English is your second language, because it comes at you quick, and you have to know pretty much what they're saying before they say it, even as a native English speaker. Yeah, there's a lot of cultural challenges. Some of them, haven't been sleeping on beds. They sleep on mats at home, and then they show up here and I have a mattress for them, So little things like that we work with on a regular basis.
I passed by this room that looked like they were parts of an airplane, and what was that room?
That would be our simulator, and it's basically just the cockpit of the airplane. It's hooked up to a computer which drives the instrumentation behind it, and we use it for instrument training.
Oh, okay.
So in the private level, you do about 3 hours of instrument training. In the instrument, we do 15 hours in the simulator. And the purpose for having a simulator is really efficiency. So we can do approaches into the airport with the simulator, and then instead of having to go around and fly all the way back to the entrance point again, we can just sort of beam them there, like Star Trek. So it's very efficient. We can do over and over and over. And the other thing it allows us to do is we can push a button and stop the action at any time that we want. We can have a discussion, where are you, what happened there, what are you going to do next, what are you going to say next, and then we can push the button and they're rolling again. And you can't do those things in the cockpit, of course.
So now that video games have become even more popular, does it take effect on the training, or does it help any?
There's good and bad to video games. If they're not aviation specific, it actually probably helps, because they're used to pushing buttons and manipulating dexterity, hand-eye coordination, that kind of thing probably does help. But what I find with the kids that get the simulators on their own is they're doing undisciplined flying. So when they show up here, they think they know how to fly, and then I got to break all their bad habits. And what I'd rather do is start them out fresh, develop good habits from the very beginning. So if they had coaching and they were using those devices, it would probably be a benefit.
Of course.
So yes, it's good and bad. It's a mixed bag.
And what can you tell me about any exciting experiences you have with flying?
Oh, exciting experiences. I've been fortunate enough to have a boring flying career. And there's been a time or two where the winds picked up and I had to, divert and land somewhere else because of fuel requirements. Got into turbulence one time, which made me uncomfortable. But I can't say I've had any near misses or anything that really, shocked me, so to speak.
Okay, great. And thank you for talking with me. And I'm Andrea Bensusan, and we're going to take a short break. And this is the Talk of San Diego.
Recommended by sleep disorder physicians worldwide. For a good night's sleep, day or night, it's the Talk of San Diego.
We're back, and I'm Andrea with the Talk of San Diego, and we're speaking with Fadli, and he's going to tell us his experience here with the California Flight Academy. And how did you hear about the Flight Academy?
I'm sorry, same question again?
Like, how did you hear about it, or how did you become interested in it?
Actually, I made search online when I was in my country in Syria, and I've got the school by the Best 10 Rated in USA, Best 10 Flight School in USA, and I emailed them, and they respond and provide all the information I need. Even they really provide anything to make my flight easy to here, provide something like with the visa issues, and even when I came here, from the moment I arrived to the airport, they took care of me with housing. They took care about everything. So.
And where are you originally from?
I'm from Syria.
Oh wow! And what made you want to come to the U.S. or San Diego especially?
Well, we don't have a flight school in Syria. And we heard here it's actually US. It's the best. They have the best flight school in the whole world. And actually San Diego, the weather is very good for flying. That's it.
And how long have you been wanting to become a pilot?
To become it depends on my studies, maybe a year.
Yeah.
I'm here almost now a year, and I need maybe a year to finish everything. Hopefully then I will be working for the airlines back to my country.
And
we'll see then.
And you want to fly when you go back, or do you want to fly here?
No, my plan to go back and work for our airlines.
Yeah, it's working. I just turned it on.
And what else can you tell me about your experience here?
Actually, this school, it's when I search, as I told you, I search online, it's really in the top 10. They are the best. They make everything easy for us. They provide any help we need. We have all the tools we need to help us in our study, like computers, the programs, even the instructors. They always ready to they are always any help we need. They are ready for us. The aircraft is really good. Everything.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And we're going to take a short break, and this is Andrea on the Talk of San Diego.
Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our program to, more than likely, an even more tediously boring, uninteresting part of the show. We sincerely apologize to any remaining listeners. Thank you.
We're back, and I'm Andrea with the Talk of San Diego, and we're going to talk with Alex about his experience with the California Flight Academy. And you're an instructor here?
Yes, I'm a part-time instructor here, so I've been instructing here for the last 2 years, and I love every day of it.
And what do you do exactly when you teach them?
When I teach here, we have students from all over the world, and I can teach to private, instrument, commercial, multi-engine. We also teach new instructors here, so we basically teach everything that you need to become a good pilot applicant for an airline. So we can teach all the courses here all the way up to the airline pilot program.
Okay, and do you teach hands-on with the airplane itself? Are you in class lecturing, or?
Exactly, we actually do both. We have some ground school instruction where we teach them kind of the intro into getting into the plane and some of the things that they need to know when they're actually in the plane, and then we also teach hands-on flight instructing, and there's 2 control yokes, so there's one for the instructor and one for the student, so we pretty much have every tool that they need to become successful.
Okay, and when did you know that you wanted to become an instructor?
I knew just about 3 years ago when one of the other instructors here kind of talked me into it, and he was telling me about the opportunities that are out there and some of the benefits of instructing and how it kind of makes you a better pilot as well. So I would say about 3-4 years ago, I knew that I wanted to start instructing.
Okay, and what made you know that you wanted to become a pilot?
Ever since my grandpa took me to the airport when I was about 6 years old, and he explained to me exactly what was going on, I knew pretty much from that day on that that was going to be the career choice for me.
Oh wow, and he was a pilot too?
He wasn't a pilot, he was an enthusiast, and he motivated me to become a pilot and told me about the benefits of it and kind of got me into it a little bit. So.
Great, and what can you tell us about the academy itself?
The academy itself, I would say, is definitely one of the best in the United States, and the reason is we make it so easy to come here if you're from another country, to get the visa, to get acquainted with the United States. We have pretty much everything that you need. We give you every tool that you need to graduate to become successful, all the way from once you get to the airport, we completely take care of you, from the housing to the visas to pretty much everything. The other thing that's good about the school is we have computer-based instruction, so rather than sitting in the class and having to take down a bunch of notes and trying to remember everything you process, we have the computer instruction where the student can actually review it as many times as necessary, write down the questions, and then go to the instructor before the flight and then get caught up with everything that he or she didn't understand. So then after that's all settled, then they go up on the flight, and that reduces the actual flight time that you need, which saves you a ton of money in the long run. So we're one of the only schools that's able to do that, and especially one of the only schools that's able to do it quickly. I mean, we've had students that have graduated in 7 months through the entire program. So we give you all the tools you need, and it's up to you to study, of course.
Yeah.
But definitely it's one of the best.
Great, and thank you. And we're going to take a short break, and we are currently at the California Flight Academy. I'm Andrea, and this is the Talk of San Diego.
As a courtesy to others, while attending a live taping of the Talk of San Diego, please refrain from bringing crying babies or weapons of any sort with you. Thank you.
We're back, and I'm Andrea Van Susan here on the Talk of San Diego, talking with Kent Parrish about the California Flight Academy. And what can you tell me about the pilots who work here?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that. The pilots are as interesting as my students are in that they come from all different places as well. My most experienced instructor is Shigeki. He's born in Japan, speaks Japanese.
Oh, okay.
And of course, he's the preferred instructor for my students from Japan.
Yeah.
But I have instructors from Mexico as well, and I have another gentleman named Ash, who is actually from Israel, speaks 4 languages, and that's kind of the other thing that we do here is we teach instructors how to be airline pilots, and they're here to build time through instruction. And I actually have 3 guys that work here that work for the airlines, and maybe Ash can tell you a little bit more about that since he's one of them.
Sure. Can we talk to him?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. And we're going to take a short break, and this is the Talk of San Diego.
Due to the high cost of shipping and handling, written transcripts of this or any other broadcast are no longer available, so you will just have to pay attention, like everyone else does.
Hello everyone, salam alaikum, shalom likulam, buenas tardes todos.
Thank you. And this is Ash Dakwar, and this is an example of how many pilots here at the California Flight Academy speak more than one language. And I'm Andrea Van Susan here on the Talk of San Diego, speaking to Ash about his experiences here. And what can you tell me about the California Flight Academy?
Well, good afternoon. California Flight Academy is one of the best academies here in Southern California. It's a big school with a lot of international students that we have here. We teach them flying from no experience, 0 experience, all the way to sit in the right seat of big airliners. Most of our students graduate here and go back to their countries and work with the airlines right away. And that's what the beauty of our school. We have a lot of airline pilots that came out of this academy.
And what can you tell me about your first flight experience?
Well, my first flight was a great experience. You know, you'll feel that you're on top of everything. You're just hanged in the air. And it's a great feeling that you can see all these beautiful views from such a small airplane, which just doesn't differ from anything from a big airplane other than we fly slower and lower. But otherwise, it's a great experience. It's a great career, and makes you feel that you're somebody special when you do that.
And have you felt differently about the first time flying, and now is the change, do you feel any different?
No, not really. It's still the same feeling of excitement, and you feel you're doing something so special that you can't still believe that you're doing these things, but no different. Until today, I've been flying since '96. Until today, every time I fly, I have the same feeling.
Wow. And have you flown in other places besides San Diego?
Yeah, of course. I'm a first officer with American Eagle Airlines. I fly all the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And with California Flight Academy, I fly all over the country. We used to fly airplanes from New York to here, from Dallas to here, from here to Northern California. It's all over the country. It's really nice.
Great. And how did you hear about the California Flight Academy?
When I became an instructor, I was looking for a job, and a lot of people recommended this school as one of the best in California. So I gave it a try. I applied for a job, and then I got hired, and that's how I started to work here. And I've been here for more than 5 years. I was an instructor, then I became a chief instructor, and I am manager of the staff for now.
Great. And many people think that after you get your pilot's license that you'd be working for the airlines. And are there any other opportunities that you could do with that?
Absolutely. Airlines is just one of them. But there is crop dusting, there's photography, area photography. Some people take it, even for just pleasure. Take their family, fly from here, for example, to Big Bear for the weekends, and fly back. Instead of drive 6 hours, in 1 hour and 10 minutes, you're in Big Bear.
Wow.
And that's a great opportunity. You can fly even charters for business people. Just fly them to their business meeting, bring them back. Doesn't have to be airline. There's a lot of opportunity having your pilot license. One of the biggest is the airline, but it's not the only one.
I didn't even think about going to Big Bear and having that available for you.
Absolutely. Big Bear, even Arizona, instead of driving for 12, 13 hours, in 2 hours in a small airplane, you can go to Arizona, to Phoenix, do whatever you need to do and get back here on time.
Wow. And how far do people normally go if they're going just with their family?
Well, it's an average of 3-4 hours flight, which can takes you all the way to Sacramento or San Francisco and back, or probably go to Arizona and back. Some people even they have the courage and go down to Mexico with the airplane, to Baja California, fly the airplane. It's a great airplane that can go really far and with minimum fuel, so it's not really expensive.
And do they rent them here? Do they borrow them? Or
Yeah, they rent
how-
them.
Okay. And is it normally for a day, or can they rent it for the weekend? Or?
No, they can rent it for a few days, especially if they're graduated from our academy. So they can just come and ask me, Ash, I would like to rent the airplane for 3 days for the weekend, take my family to Big Bear or San Francisco. And I said, yeah, no problem. Take the airplane and bring it back and back and forth.
And have you done that before?
Yeah, absolutely. I flew with a lot of customers and client of us, show them, what's the best way to get to San Fran or to Mexico or to the desert and back, and then they do it on their own. So I have a lot of experience doing that.
Yeah. And have you gone anywhere for vacation just with your family, or just flying them?
I took my wife and my kids and we went to Big Bear for 3 days. It was snowing there, so we went the first day before the snowstorm. We got stuck for another 2 days, and when it cleared out, we came back. But it was an amazing experience. An hour and 10 minutes fly, and you're on top of the mountain there in Big Bear.
Wow.
While if we go by car from here, it's about 7 hours
Wow.
at least, if they don't close the roads.
It's so convenient to be able to have that.
Absolutely. And we went to Vegas another time. I took my wife and one daughter back then, went to Vegas for Friday, Saturday, and we came back 2.5 hours with the plane, and we're in Vegas.
Wow.
Instead of 6 or 7 by car.
Very cool. So Ash, looking around, do you think it's good flying weather conditions?
Yeah, I think so. Let's go fly and have some fun.
Yeah, I would love that. And this is Andrea Van Susan on the Talk of San Diego, and we'll be right back.
Oh, the wise guy, a head clunker, eh? Came from back. Get out of here. He didn't do it. And you did. Get out.
Hi, we're back, and I just flew an airplane and even took off, and it was quite an incredible experience. And I want to thank the owner, Kent, for that, of the California Flight Academy. And I hope to see you next time. And this is Andrea with the Talk of San Diego.